While much of the world's aviation industry has seen the resumption of domestic air travel, so far resuming international air travel for the rest of the world's population has been more challenging to say the least. To balance health and safety protocols with the needs to resume international air travel, there are initiatives such as the travel passes, and then there's the idea of travel bubbles, which are bilateral agreements between countries who permit travel between the two countries under certain conditions. This brings up the nation of Taiwan, which has announced recently that it will be starting a travel bubble with a small island nation in the Western Pacific. This small island nation in the Pacific is Palau, which is located southeast of the Philippines and north of Indonesia. It's the westernmost island chain of the islands of Micronesia in the Pacific. It also happens to be a country with diplomatic ties with Taiwan, and for the most part have escaped the worst of the COVID-19 pandemic with 0 confirmed cases. While it has escaped the worst of the COVID-19 pandemic in terms of the public health crises most of the world is facing, Palau is a nation that is heavily reliant on tourism with several natural attractions such as the Rock Islands, and the global aviation downturn has done its damage on the Palauan economy. So this new upcoming travel bubble with Taiwan is a much needed boost for the island nation. This new travel bubble was announced by Taiwanese authorities and is scheduled to start on April 1st. To travel both directions, there will be an easing of health requirements, though Taiwanese authorities will be requiring travelers from Taiwan to show proof they have not been outside the country in 6 months, have not been asked to quarantine within the last 2 months prior to travel, and must not have gotten COVID-19 within the last 3 months. Travelers will be subject to stay within their travel groups, including dining in certain areas to avoid contact with local Palauans. Travelers from Taiwan to Palau will have a maximum stay of 8 days and will be required to take a COVID-19 test prior and after the trip completion. Meanwhile, travelers from Palau will be required to stay within their travel group. To facilitate travel between the two countries, Taiwan-based China Airlines will be operating 2 flights weekly using Boeing 737-800 aircraft. With a typical capacity of 150 seats, Taiwanese authorities are placing capacity caps per flight at around 110. Plans are being made to introduce more flights gradually, which could be operated by EVA Airways, which has applied to operate flights between the two countries. Regarding its handling of the COVID-19 pandemic, it has placed Taiwan in a position to negotiate these kind of deals for controlled travel between areas that are deemed safe from the COVID-19 pandemic, compared to some of its Asian and global counterparts. Within Asia, it seems that Taiwanese tourists and visitors could be leading the aviation recovery in the region, and visitors from that country will be desired as destinations in Asia are looking to recover and reopen when international air travel resumes. Beyond Palau, the island nation is looking to open up more travel bubbles with neighboring countries, including Singapore, Vietnam, Japan, and South Korea. While Taiwan embarks on the start of its first travel bubble, for the most part, the idea of travel bubbles have not been implemented well for some other countries due to the rise in cases in some countries. An example of this is the delayed travel bubble between Singapore and Hong Kong, or the planned travel bubble between Australia and New Zealand. With its health controls, Taiwan could prove to be different, which could set up itself for more success in forming travel bubbles and other favorable travel arrangements with other countries. I definitely hope you enjoyed this video. If you liked it, please like, comment, share, and subscribe. This has been Flights in Asia, highlighting the news and updates from the aviation and travel scene in the Asia Pacific. Thanks again for watching and have a great day.